Welcome to FFRF's weekly live Ask an Atheist program. I'm Annie Laurie Gaylor.
And I'm Dan Barker. And Annie Laurie and I are co-presidents of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, which produces this program.
And today we are going to have a sneak preview about something you may never heard of, a secular Day of the Dead.
And in Spanish, that's El Día Secular de los Muertos.
FFRF is a proud co-sponsor along with many other groups, and you are not able to comment or question today, unfortunately, because we are actually pre-recording due to our video director's schedule. So ignore that. We can't answer your questions, but we hope we will answer all of them on the show.
But they can send a question to Ask an Atheist, and we might get to it on a future show. Yeah. So joining us today is the principal organizer of this international Day of the Dead, El Día de los Muertos Secular. It's an event which will take place on Sunday, November the 1st. Margaret Downey. Hi, Margaret.
Hello.
Margaret is the founder and president of the Free Thought Society. She also runs the Anti-Discrimination Support Network, which fights discrimination against atheists. Margaret Downey challenged the Boy Scouts of America's discrimination against Scouts from atheist families on behalf of her own son. Like the Freedom from Religion Foundation, Margaret also rated a mention in Dan Brown's recent bestseller, Origin, as a free thought powerhouse, and that is actually true. Margaret is joining us from the Philadelphia area. Margaret, so glad you could join us today.
Thank you for having us. Mm-hmm. My co-designer of this event is also with you, Victoria de la Torre.
Yes.
And I'm so proud to
Hello.
I'm so proud to have been Victoria's mentor in 2014. It gave us an opportunity to get to know each other and what was more important in our lives. And when Victoria mentioned that her family always celebrated the Day of the Dead, I got very excited because I've always loved that holiday. When I was once married to a man, Christopher Ortega, who was from a Mexican family, but I never participated in the Day of the Dead because I always felt like a hypocrite. I'm an atheist, and all of the regular rituals and the ceremonies all seem to be very religious and superstitious. So Victoria and I sat down and we decided to really reinvent the holiday. So instead of an altar, we named our little table with pictures and things as an honoring table. We don't say prayers. We don't say things like someone has passed away. So our language is very secular, no religion, no prayers, no symbolism of religion at all. And I'm so proud to have designed this with Victoria because it's really taken off well.
Well, and so Victoria, you have a degree in philosophy, and I know you work with a number of San Diego secular groups, including secular Latinos. And like Margaret, you're a secular celebrant. So we want to welcome both of you to today's show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I used to preach in San Diego, years ago, back in my bad old days of ministering. I know that area very well. Not too far from the Mexican border, is it?
And Dan, we are so excited that you agreed to be our keynote speaker at the Secular Day of the Dead. We're so looking forward to your speech about being a minister. And please tell us the name of your speech. I love it.
The speech is Adios, Adios, which means we are saying goodbye to God.
So, Margaret, you talked a little bit about the genesis of this whole thing, but can you explain what is going to happen on the Day of the Dead, the secular Day of the Dead, Sunday, November 1st, and maybe how people can find out more about it?
Okay, so we're going to start off at 11:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're starting off with a 15-minute concert. We're going to have 3 different performers, each have 5 minutes, and it's going to be a way to open up the lines where people can log on and be entertained at the same time. So the kickoff starts at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, noon Pacific Standard Time. And I am so excited to tell you that we are going to kick off this event with a very special movie star appearance. We are going to be hosting John Muertos. And he is a star. He is now featured in a very prominent role in This Is Us.
Huh.
And if you look him up on the internet, you'll see the wide variety of roles he's played over the years. And he has become a friend. And I think you're just going to be surprised at what he has to say.
He's acted in a lot of movies in the last few years, hasn't he?
Yes, yes. So then we'll have a welcome from all of the co-sponsors, including Robin Blumner from the Center for Inquiry, Nick Fish from American Atheist, of course, our precious Annie Laurie from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and then David Tamayo from Hispanic American Freethinkers. And of course, we have Victoria and myself, which will lead the whole thing to the next section of the program, which will be you, Dan. And then
I have to think of something good to say, don't I?
You always think of something good to say.
And this is all online, right, Margaret? People register for it.
A Zoom event?
Yes.
It's a Zoom, like a Zoom event.
So, and
It's our very first Zoom attempt at celebrating the Secular Day of the Dead, and it's turning out to be a fantastic idea because we can pull people in from Central America, from Mexico, from all over the country, all over the world. So we're very excited that this is going to be perhaps even better than we ever had locally.
Well, Spain even. I heard that there's a group of humanists in Spain who are going to tune in, although it's really late at night for them. I think it's like 11 at night, but they want to be a part of this.
Oh, that is exciting news.
so before we go any further with what's going to happen, if someone's interested in signing up, you have a Facebook page that they should go to?
Yes. The Facebook page is called the Secular Day of the Dead. And you showed a logo when you started the show. They need to look for that logo. We just discovered that someone we don't know tried to set up a Secular Day of the Dead Facebook page that isn't us.
Uh-oh.
So we don't know what's going on. But you can be safe to go to the Free Thought Society meetup page and sign up as a member of the meetup. And you can find our Zoom link under the description of the Secular Day of the Dead.
So the Free Thought Society webpage has a link. Meetup page has a link to the Secular Day of the Dead, and
Yes.
I don't know if Bruce can show that again. It's a yellow skull with flowers, the logo.
Yes, and they can find us at the Free Thought Society website as well. We'll have an advertisement there and a link.
So
We're not going to circulate the Zoom link. That's why we're going through an extra step so that people have to register.
So Victoria, then what's going to happen in the schedule?
Well, once we break out into the breakout rooms for Zoom, we'll have an English version and a Spanish version. And I will be hosting the Spanish version along with David Tamayo, and we hope more Spanish speakers can join us. One thing I'm really excited about for the Day of the Dead activities is actually we're going to be lighting some candles and talking about our deceased loved ones and what they meant to us. So if different people... Oh,
go ahead.
If different people want to sign up, actually, in the links that Margaret posted, you can actually have 3 to 5 minutes to honor your deceased one. along with photos, what they meant to you, their legacy that they're leaving behind. I will be honoring Frida here, as you can see.
Frida Kahlo, huh?
Yes, I'm very excited for that. Yeah. One of the great things about our event is honoring those who are no longer with us, those who are deceased, and keeping their legacy alive.
So, Margaret, this is going to be both in English and in Spanish. How's that going to work?
Yes, all of our welcoming speeches will have subtitles. If David is speaking in Spanish, we will have English subtitles. If people are speaking in English, we'll have the Spanish subtitles. We've gone through a lot of trouble to make sure that this is a bilingual event. When people break into the Spanish and English rooms, that's for the honoring ceremony. By the way, we are very excited that Sasha Sagan is honoring her father, Carl Sagan, during that honoring ceremony event. So it's going to be very special. Don Davidson, he's a Hollywood legend. He was on Hollywood Squares, Johnny Carson. He's just a fabulous entertainer. He is honoring his brother, Lee, during the honoring ceremony. And we have a world-famous sculptor who's honoring his brother during the honoring ceremony. Oh, and also an author. Fernando Alcantar will be honoring his grandmother.
But so, Victoria, you're saying that anybody who signs up, who registers, who reserves a spot, can participate in this via Zoom?
Yes, that's correct. So there are directions there when you go to register. If you would like to opt to share your story about your loved one, then definitely we encourage anybody who feels moved to do so.
And they can make a reservation by actually emailing me at seculardayofthedead@ftsociety.org. Of course, it stands for F as in free, T as in thought. So it's Secular Day of the Dead, all one word, at ftsociety.org.
So before we go any further, somebody who might not come from this background or heritage, who doesn't even know what the regular Secular Day of the Dead is, can we kind of explain that whole tradition in Mexico?
Victoria?
Sure. So basically, Day of the Dead, it originated as something, of course, in the supernatural to honor your loved ones who have passed on. And they believe that this day they come back and they reunite with their family. So, of course, we are taking the secular Day of the Dead. We prefer not to say passed on, perhaps deceased. And we still recognize that it is important to recognize your loved ones and the legacy that they leave behind. And I think for theists, no matter what your background is, we can all agree and recognize that when you're gone, your legacy and your family and your loved ones, that's what you leave behind. So instead of taking the supernatural aspect of it, we recognize that here in this one life that we have, we should honor those who have gone.
So the Day of the Dead in Mexico actually is not a funeral. When you see those parties of the Day of the Dead, we were at one, remember, on Olvera Street in Los Angeles? They're celebrating, they're singing, they're reciting poetry, they're dancing. It's not like a time of mourning, it's a time of actual memorializing and celebrating, and in a sense bringing that person back into your life.
And it also acknowledges your own value of your one and only life. So you want to live it to the fullest. You want to dance and sing and, not only remember your dead loved ones, but you want to appreciate the life you're living right now. So it is a celebration of life, not so much only death.
But it is something.
Yes, Dan, going off on what... Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, going off on what you said about celebrating, you can even see in the vibrant colors that we have. We have pink, blue, purple, yellow. Those all have different meanings. And you're right, it's not a day for mourning, it's a day of celebration, contrary to the name.
So Victoria, you were the host of the event back in the days when we could meet in person. In San Diego, you hosted, and I think we have some pictures, don't we, Bruce, of that actual live event in San Diego. Tell us what was happening at that event.
Well, that's my friend Christina. She's dressed as Frida.
So there's things for kids to do.
Children.
And that's us hosting with my mother on the side. These are actually masks that children were making. So that's another tradition that you do for Day of the Dead.
A piñata. Oh, Shelley Siegel.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
She sang a song to her grandmother. It was beautiful.
And those are such delicious looking cupcakes.
Ah.
Yes, those are actually ring and party favors on top. This is actually Anna Maria Della Torre. She's an artist and my sister who volunteered to do everyone's face painting, which is another tradition for the Day of the Dead.
In music. Wow.
Oh, that's our sign that I had custom made for our first event ever in San Diego. And there I am with a friend of mine, Taylor. She's one of the attendees. And my sister again, getting ready to paint everyone's faces.
Huh.
Yes, the adults had some fun painting as well. Oh, and there we are with the face painter and my mother and another attendee. Oh,
There you are,
That's my
Margaret.
friend, Michael Estes. He's holding a picture that was on the honoring table. I was holding a picture of my auntie that was on the honoring table.
So
And
what?
by the way, during the event, we are going to be looking for people who have painted faces, who have hair adornment, who are dressed up in costume, who go through the trouble of having a set. And these people are going to be given prizes. And on the table right behind me are some of the prizes. This is like dishcloths. We even have pet toys, Secular Day of the Dead pet toys, and candles, earrings, beautiful earrings that we're going to be giving to a prize winner. So we're very excited that we can do this for the public and get the excitement rolling and offer prizes.
Can the speakers enter for the prizes?
No. No.
Oh.
Although I'm going to pretend I'm entering. I go all out, as you can see.
Well, it's beautiful, beautiful set that you've come up with, Margaret and Victoria. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the whole evolution of this, because many societies at this time of year, you know, the end of October, November, have festivals or traditions, and usually Christianity has taken them over. You know, if you look at Halloween, All Hallows Day. Dan and I were walking yesterday in the cemetery by our house. I think Bruce has a picture of what's going on in the fall. Bruce, can you find that picture? You know, there's the change of the colors, the trees leaving, dropping their leaves. Everything starting to look dead for the cold setting in.
Literally in a cemetery.
Yeah, and there we are in a cemetery. And but a beautiful time of year, and a lot of harvest traditions. And I'm wondering, Victoria, do you know the origins of this, just the religious Day of the Dead? Was there a pagan festival that used to take place that the Catholic Church took over?
So it's actually part of, Dia de los Muertos is part of the 3-day celebration that actually here you have in the United States as well, which is Halloween. So you have All Saints Day, you have Hallows Eve, which has evolved into Halloween here. And then after All Saints Day, you have Day of the Dead. So it all kind of comes together, and in different parts of Latin America, you might just do All Saints Day, or you might do All Saints Day plus Day of the Dead. With these celebrations, they usually like to add in a few more days, so it's usually a 3-day celebration.
So I happened to be in Mexico City. We were having a conference, and I think I missed the real Day of the Dead, but we had a free day on November 2nd, so it was just after the Day of the Dead.
Yes.
But the whole square was full of still celebrations and booths and, you know, sugar skulls and everything you can imagine. And I saw a lot of people, it was like they had a parade, but they were still dressed up for it. They were wearing 19th century garb, then with the skeletal masks. And is that common? Is that just because it's supposed to be a reflection of your ancestors? Is that a typical thing you'd see?
Yes, that's correct. In fact, we're actually encouraging people to dress up and to usually do either your whole face or half of your face is painted. And when you have half of the face, it reflects the living side and the deceased side. So it is very common to see that, especially here in San Diego, where we're so close to the border. We have very big celebrations for the Day of the Dead.
And is there a 19th century theme, or was I just seeing that in Mexico City?
Oh, yes, it definitely. You have the 19th century theme with the dresses, the tall hats, everything. It kind of just ties into recognizing your ancestors.
Oh yeah, dressing like people dressing like they dressed a century ago, kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
And we want to emphasize that you can also honor a dead pet. You know, we consider pets as a member of the family. So a lot of people would like to honor their dog or their cat that they had for 15 years. And that would be a lovely tribute. We're welcoming that.
Well, we're
So
all
keep that in
animals.
mind.
Humans are animals. So why should there be this demarcation? Now,
we found that children like to honor their pets, their dead pets. It's very healing and very satisfying for children to be involved in that way.
So during the honoring ceremony, candles are traditionally used. Is that right?
Yes.
And so, Margaret, you asked me to do a welcome and then to honor somebody in my life I had lost. And of course, I chose my mother, Anne Nicole Gaylor.
Oh, there's the candle.
And there's the candle close up. And in the ceremony, I'll be lighting that candle as I read. I have a short reading about her and her legacy. And Margaret, you have a copy of that candle there too, don't you?
Yes, I love it. I'm going to display this year-round. I loved your mother very much, and she means a lot to me. So making this for you, Annie Laurie, really touched my heart. And I get the chills just thinking about the legacy she left for us. Speaking of honorable people, we just created this candle last night, and it's dedicated to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And we love her so much. I'm going to try to show you what it looks like all the way around. We have little scales on the side, scales of justice, and then a little memorial to her about the strength that she gave us all. And it's not a prayer. It's more of a wish that we would like to be similar to Ruth Bader Ginsburg in so many ways. This makes our fifth candle that we have actually created on our own. This is Christopher Hitchens, and he has books down the side of his candle. And this candle is dedicated to Paul Kurtz, and Robin will be lighting this candle.
Robin Blumner, yeah.
Robin Blumner, and I will be lighting a Thomas Paine candle.
Perfect.
Yes, and he has little quills on the side of his candle.
I don't think he spoke Spanish, though, Margaret.
No, he didn't even speak French very well, and he lived there. And that was part of the problem. It's too bad he didn't speak French as well as others, because maybe he would not have been thrown into the Bastille. He could have explained himself better.
Well, he would have approved of a secular Day of the Dead.
So, Victoria, I think it's true that in Mexico and in the Mexican-American community in the United States, most of the people who are celebrating the Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, most of them are Catholics who do believe in life after death, and yet they're kind of mixing different pre-Aztec culture with the Catholics. In our case, none of the seculars are thinking that we're going to be communicating with a dead relative. We're just honoring them. Isn't that true?
Yes, that is true. I think like with most holidays, you get a mix of different traditions. And especially with the Catholic Church and today's holidays, that is common to do. We, of course, just want to abstain from that and separate ourselves from that and just stick on reality and what we can see from our ancestors and the legacy they left. And I think that's more important.
Yes, it's again, another natural holiday, very natural to reflect and honor those we have lost, especially these major freethinkers who have such a legacy.
Yes, that's correct.
And between now and November 1st, people might want to catch the movie Coco. It's a beautiful presentation of what the secular Day of the Dead is all about. And that is, that you can dream of your ancestors and their legacy, but talk about them and appreciate them and take from their legacy and their talents even as to who you are and what you can bring to this one and only life.
So again, how can people who are interested in taking part in or viewing the Secular Day of the Dead do that?
They can visit the Secular Day of the Dead Facebook page. They can visit the Free Thought Society website. I think the Freedom from Religion Foundation is putting a link up as well.
That's right, under our events section.
Good. Great. And then they can make a reservation to honor a dead loved one by sending me an email at Secular Day of the Dead at F as in free, T as in thought, society.org. And then they can also go to the Free Thought Society meetup. And Victoria has beautifully posted the event in Spanish. And then there's also an English version that they can look at.
So it's important, I think, to point out, Margaret, that people can't just decide at the last minute to tune in on November the 1st. You have to register for this like you were going to a convention or something. You have to sign up,
Well,
right?
there's no charge. There's no charge.
Okay.
And the only reason that you have to register is so that we can avoid those terrible people who zoom in and want to destroy your event. So when we get a registration, we will release the actual link to our festivities. And it's just a way to safeguard against hacking and inappropriate behavior from people who are bent on destroying things that we do.
So don't wait to the last minute to sign up for this, in other words.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we can't take questions or comments today, so I would like to ask both of you, starting with you, Victoria, anything else you'd like to add about what to expect or why it's important to have a Secular Day of the Dead?
To be honest, for me, it is the most important holiday, especially as an atheist. When I became an atheist, I really saw the value and the importance of recognizing those who are deceased. So when you are registering for the event, I do encourage you, if you are moved to do so, to honor somebody. And take the 3 to 5 minutes to honor somebody in preparation for this event, because it really does make a difference. And I think that that's just part of the beauty of celebrating life. And even through grief and death, we can celebrate our legacy.
So you were raised religious, Victoria?
I was, yes.
And
yes,
then
actually, I got my degree in philosophy with kind of an emphasis on philosophy of religion. I went to a very Catholic school, University of San Diego, where I attended my bachelor's degree. I was baptized there. I went to Sunday school there. And actually, through my theology classes is where I became an atheist.
I did a debate there a few years ago. It's a beautiful campus.
Yes, it's very beautiful. It does take architecture from different Catholic universities, and it wants to replicate it there. It's a very good school. I think part of the education there is not as conservative as other Christian campuses. It's a very good education, but it does emphasize a lot of philosophy and theology, which, as some of you, of course, know, can turn somebody into an atheist.
Yeah, well, good enough school to turn you into an atheist. And Margaret, any other parting words or previews?
I just want to say that recent surveys have determined that about 30% of the population are no longer religiously affiliated. And we know that out of that 30%, there are many Hispanics who are non-theist. But they're trapped. They're in their family traditions and the cultural rituals that are very religious. What we are offering is a secular way to keep those cultural traditions alive and the rituals. That is what binds people together in a community. It's the key element to making friends and keeping the community active and engaged without being hypocritical. So that's why we're very proud of the Secular Day of the Dead.
Well, we look forward to it greatly, and thank you, both of you, so much for all the work. This has been an immense amount of work to get this underway.
Yes. And can I just add one more thing, actually? I think for many Hispanic people, myself included, and I'm sure I'm not alone, religion and culture go so much hand in hand. So that's another thing I wanted to emphasize. Just because you're leaving your religion doesn't mean you have to leave your culture. And this is part of also why we wanted to do Secular Day of the Dead.
Well, I think we should reclaim all of these religious holidays, which usually do have natural roots in them anyway. So, well, thank you so much, both of you, for all your work and joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Adios, adios.
Adios.
And if you're viewing this show, please don't hesitate to sign up to register for Sunday, November 1st, Secular Day of the Dead.
And don't hesitate to vote. This is very important. If you are a U.S. citizen, please vote early or put your mask on and go to the polls on November 3rd. Don't forget. And don't forget to tune in Ask an Atheist next week, same time, same place.